everyone, thank you for tuning in to my channel. I am T and this is Crumpets Tea and Sewing, and in today's video I am going to be doing a pattern review of Simplicity 8609 View E, the pleated skirt. So stay tuned and you'll learn a little bit more about this pattern. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to my channel. My name is Tamika Ray Grover and this is my channel, Crumpets Tea and Sewing. So throughout this video, I will be basing my review on the clarity of the instructions and the guidelines, as well as the difficulty or the easiness of the pattern. If you like this pattern or if you made this pattern, please make sure that you make comments below and tell us what your experience was like. And also don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel for future updates. Okay, so Simplicity 8609 View E, the pleated skirt. This pattern was particularly interesting. I've sewed many pleated skirts and many of those skirts were from Simplicity. I have to say that for me, with Simplicity pleated skirts, for some reason they always run really big on me, and I went into the project thinking to myself, okay, Simplicity patterns usually have a lot of ease for myself and also tend to run big on me. Maybe I should make this skirt a size down. But I was really scared because, you know, the fabric is really gorgeous and we don't want to take those risks, right? We never want to take those risks with our fabric. Sometimes we get so attached to our fabrics, right? And we don't want to make those cuts unless we are absolutely certain. Well, I was not absolutely certain that it would be too small, and so I didn't want to go a size down, but I should have went a size down, because as I expected, when I cut to my size, it was too big on me. Now, why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because with a pleated skirt, that poses a problem, because there's a formula for pleated skirts, right? Especially if you're going to be doing a skirt that has X amount of pleats and each pleat is a particular size. So each pleat was roughly about 4 3/4 wide. Because it was calculated that way, it made it really hard for me to be able to adjust to my size. I still really like the pattern. However, I don't like the fact that I can't adjust to my size. So that I was really frustrated by, because when I found out that the skirt was indeed too big for me, I had to make adjustments. Now, when I went to do those adjustments, as you can imagine, I was not able to accurately do those adjustments without taking away from the pleats. And so once I did those adjustments, making the waistband and also the skirt about 4 to 5 inches, I had to take off about 4 to 5 inches, not including seam allowance. And so that's a lot, especially when you're making a pleated skirt. Now, if it was a gather skirt, it wouldn't have made a difference. But because it was a pleated skirt and each pleat was so many inches apart from each other, and then also to make matters worse, it has pockets. The pleats on the side by the pockets were so many inches away from that pocket area as well. And so I was not able to really make the necessary adjustments without taking away from inches for pockets and then also for other pleats. And so nobody knows this but myself, but 2 of my pleats are about 1/2 inch larger than the other pleats, because I had to make those adjustments. And so, and as you can imagine, when you make adjustments to one part of the garment, then other parts of the garment suffer because of it. And so I had a hard time with seam allowance area for the zipper in the center back. So I wasn't really happy about that, about having to take off so many inches and not having the room to be able to compensate for that with the pleats. And I'm not saying that that's the designer's fault, but I have known in the past that when you're doing certain pleats, if they're not designed in the way in which they are in this pattern, you can make adjustments without taking away from the size. And I guess it's because you have so many panels that you have to work with in this pattern. I think having the pockets there as well made it so that I wasn't able to make those adjustments without losing some of my seam allowance in the back, in the center back. Having said that, once I made those necessary adjustments and I refitted and tried to refit it to my waist, it was then about a half an inch too small. And so I need about a half an inch more to be able to fit it accurately, you know, to be able to tuck in my shirts and things like that, because it's such a high waistband and it's really cute. You want to wear it with a crop top as it's featured on the envelope, or you want to be able to tuck your shirt in. So you want to be able to have a nice thin shirt that you can tuck in and still have that room. I don't have that room to tuck a shirt in. Like, I barely have the room to be able to just have it without having any shirt underneath of it. I need about a half an inch more to be able to fit this skirt. I don't like to force fit because I need a little bit more in the waistband, you know, that half an inch that I talked about. It has caused some crinkling in the waistband, as you can see here. And that's not good. And so I'm not going to be wearing this until I lose a half an inch off my waist. So while that's not a lot, I still don't want to force fit. That's pretty much the biggest gripe that I've had with this pattern. Because there are so many panels, there's really no room to make adjustments. And because there are pockets also, there's really no room to make adjustments to the garment. And so it's really hard to determine whether or not you should go up a size or down a size, because, you know, with patterns, there are always guidelines. We still need to find that perfect fit for us. I just feel like this pattern will be really difficult for a person to be able to make those necessary adjustments unless they're able to wear the size, you know, right off the envelope, which I'm not able to do that because Simplicity patterns generally fit too big on me when I go with the size that's correlated with my size. Okay, so now let's turn to the instructions and guidelines for this pattern. I found that the instructions for this pleated skirt to be very vague, and I hate to say that about anybody's work because people put so much time into designing and drafting, but I felt like we needed to have a little bit more on how to make these pleats. And the instructions to make pleats on outside: fold along solid lines, bring folds to broken lines, base close to fold, press, machine base across upper edges, remove fold basting. And that's it. So that's all the instructions that you get for the pleated skirts. I found this to be not very helpful because the pattern pieces, they do have a lot of lines that indicate where the pleats will stop and start, and it also has arrows to point in the direction to show you where to place the pleats. And so that's somewhat helpful. There are just so many different lines and things like that on the pattern that I got confused. And although the arrows pointed the way, as I indicated before, there's a gap between the pocket and the two side pleats on each side of the skirt. And so, and then there are broken lines, and then there are solid lines, and arrows to indicate, you know, which way the pleats go from left to right. Really hard to know what to do when all of this is put into practice and you're going along, and you have your marks there, but the instructions are weak. Now, the pattern envelope nor the instructions indicate whether or not this pattern is for beginners or intermediate sewer or an advanced sewer. I just assumed because it's a pleated skirt, generally those fall in the category of intermediate sewer, intermediate to advanced sewer. And so anyway, I would think that this would be for an intermediate sewer, but I would not recommend this to a beginner, maybe an advanced beginner, because the pleats, the direction of the pleats can be somewhat confusing, and even I was a little bit confused. I have been sewing for over 16 years now, and I still just, it wasn't something that was registering to me immediately. Eventually, I did get the swing of things. It could have been that I had a more difficult time because I had to take out 4 to 5 inches, and figuring out how to compensate for that, and then also reconfiguring my pleats and how to arrange those pleats. But with that said, the dress still came out pretty great, and I will put some pictures up at the end of this video. And I hope that this review came out pretty great, and I will put some pictures up at the end of this video. And I hope that this review was very helpful. And if you have any questions or comments about the review or about this particular pattern, please make sure that you make those comments below. And also tell me what you liked about the pattern, if you sewed it, if you have had some of the same frustrations as me, or if you thought the pattern was easy. And make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. I hope to see you all in the next video.